Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And we begin at the United Nations and President Trump wrapping up a roller coaster 3 days at the UN General Assembly. The president meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. The leaders discussed the peace process and the president backed a two-state solution. He also addressed containing Iran's aggression in the region. Now, Iran was also a big topic of conversation at the UN Security Council. The president chairing the session this morning. President Trump calling for fresh sanctions on Iran, denounced Syria's Assad regime, and called out China for its trade practices. The president closing out the day with a wide-ranging press conference where he again addressed the Mideast peace process.
My life, I've always heard the deal between, as you know, Israel and the Palestinians. That's like the toughest deal. Every possible thing is tough about that. I think we're going to make a deal. They asked me, I said, I think it's going to be a two-state. And you know what I did today? By saying that, I put it out there. And if you ask most of the people in Israel, they agree with that. But nobody wanted to say it. It's a big thing to put it out. It's a very big thing to put it out. Now, the bottom line, if the Israelis and the Palestinians want one state, that's okay with me. If they want two states, that's okay with me. I'm happy if they're happy. I'm a facilitator. I want to see if I can get a deal done so that people don't get killed anymore.
I'm happy if they're happy. For more, let's bring in our senior diplomatic correspondent, Nina Larson. Nina, we know the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu certainly have a strong working relationship and often coordinate on policy. What would you say was the big headline from their meeting today?
Well, Michelle, I think you've just detailed it. It was this debate over the one-state or two-state solution. Within one day here in New York, it seemed that Donald Trump articulated two completely opposing policies on this. Earlier in the day, he said that a two-state solution might be possible. That's a reversal of what he said about just over about 18 months ago when Netanyahu first went to the White House in February 2017, in the very, very early days of Trump's presidency. And then again, he reversed it again, opening up for perhaps a one-state solution, whichever the two parties like. And this is obviously some kind of negotiating technique going into what we're all waiting for. That's the unveiling of this Middle East peace plan by Jared Kushner and Jason Greenblatt.
So, Nina, about that much-anticipated peace plan, are we any closer to the unveiling, the timeline, or knowing any of the details?
Well, a little bit closer. It seems, according to President Trump, that will be unveiled within 2 to 4 months. So that really sounds like by the end of the year. Greenblatt and Kushner were in this meeting. They were present in that meeting with Netanyahu. And what the State Department's been saying lately, Michelle, is that it's ready. They're just not ready to unveil it. And it's not really a surprise that they held back this week. This was Trump's turn in the spotlight. They'll want to really roll out this peace plan when they're ready, when they have all their ducks in a row. And of course, everyone will be watching to see what the Palestinians say tomorrow. President Abbas will be here at the United Nations. Just one speaker dividing him and Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow.
Yeah, that's going to be a big day. Nina, back to the Security Council meeting that the president chaired earlier today. Tell us about the other topics that he touched on.
Well, no surprise, Michelle, he dwelt very firmly on Iran and their malign activities across the region. Also China, that was the big headline of the day, if you haven't already mentioned it. He accused China of election meddling in the US midterms, saying that they were using this as some kind of tactic, an offensive strategy to counter his trade war. No mention, however, of Russia's alleged meddling in the election process here in the United States. China responded, of course, saying this was completely inaccurate. But again, no surprises from Donald Trump. He always likes to say something controversial that grabs world headlines. It was actually quite an interesting meeting, though. Normally these proceedings can be quite dull and boring. But this gave smaller nations a chance to say their piece about the Trump policies. Equatorial Guinea took the stage. We don't normally hear from them very much, but they were very critical of Trump at this meeting, and Bolivia. Then Emmanuel Macron, of course, of France, very critical of the US pulling out of the Iran deal.
Nina, thank you so much.